on Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian hip-hop artist and recovery minister living in Las Vegas. God has delivered me from the hopelessness of a 15-year drug addiction, a full-time criminal lifestyle, and the pain and worry of having a daughter born with disabilities. I was adopted on my day of birth, and my parents raised me down in the Southern California area. I wasn't raised in a Christian home, but I was raised by two loving parents. I was introduced to drugs at a young age. I grew up in the inner city, so marijuana was something that I fell into at about age 12. Through my high school years, I started getting deeper into addiction. I actually started dealing drugs as well. I got into prescription drugs. I was selling them, I was using them. But also I found a passion that I had for writing music, hip-hop music. I used that as an outlet to write down the things I was facing. In my early 20s, I started to hit a real rough patch with my addiction. I was falling deeper and deeper into my use. I also was hit with a really hard time. Within the same week, I had a close friend of mine overdose on Oxycontin, and then I also had another friend who took his own life, and I was the last person to see him alive. In that time, I just fell deeper and deeper into depression. I isolated myself from everyone and everything. I decided there was nothing good left for me in California, so I left everything behind and decided to start a new life in Las Vegas. And this is where my insanity got even worse. My addiction got worse. I was isolated from all my friends and family. I was just living in a really bad situation. I met a girl online though, and she had a relationship with Christ, and I didn't have that, but she would always, talk to me about him, and I was kind of separating myself from that talk. But one night I had a moment of clarity. I was coming down off of drugs in the middle of the night, and I reached out to her. She invited me to come to church the next day, and I decided that my way wasn't working anymore. So I showed up to church, and she connected me that day to a guy in the care department who joined me to a program called Celebrate Recovery. And that program really touched my life. I started getting around others who were going through similar things, and I realized that I wasn't alone in the pain I was trying to suppress with my addictions and the things I was going through. So I really had that moment and that place that I needed to where I could let what I was going through out. I could just share who I was and what I was facing, and I no longer felt alone in my struggles. So I remember my surrender moment like it was yesterday. Brian Head Welch was giving his testimony at his church, and he was talking about how he was reading the Bible, but he had a big line of meth sitting at his table, and he was literally doing lines of meth while he was reading the Bible, and he was pleading to God, God, if you can pull me from this situation, if you can work on someone like me, then I know that you're real. And that just really struck me from my past and the things that I dealt with. I remember that surrender moment really clearly. After that, I just started getting deeper into following God. I got into His Word. I started, getting deeper into my recovery group. I led my own group. I started getting some clean time under my belt. And then in 2010, I always had this passion for music and writing songs. But God spoke to me one day while I was out, because I had lost that passion to my addiction. He told me, you need to start doing music again and glorifying me through it. And so I went home that day. I started writing my first song, and it glorified God through the lyrics. And then a couple months later, the woman that I called in the middle of the night who told me to come to church that day, we got together, and we ended up getting married in 2012.